and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence, and it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean.
Quarantine continues. Well, mostly. For those of us who believe in coronavirus, it fucking continues.
For those of us who are flying that flag.
Keeping that fucking faith, man.
Hey, man,
being like, hey, let's still believe there's a deadly pandemic going on.
Let's believe that viruses don't actually
They don't just go away. Yeah, they're like, you know what? It's summer. You guys are tired of me. I'm leaving.
It's like, man, I should go on vacation too. And then the coronavirus.
The coronavirus is wearing a fucking Hawaiian shirt somewhere.
The coronavirus just looks like my brother.
Yeah, he's just wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
He just dresses like Brian Merrick in general.
Yeah, just wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
He goes to Bonnaroo.
Sweatband, yeah. Oh, going to Bonnaroo? Absolutely.
Going to Bonnaroo, just hanging out.
Yeah, he's like, I've worked really hard.
I worked really hard
I need some me time.
I worked really hard killing a lot of Americans.
I need some me time.
You guys will hang out with me, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can pick this up in the fall.
Hey, let's
right?
get the band back together.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we got to do one thing before we see each other again in the fall.
Yeah, I got to have something to talk about. Yes, we hope you all stay safe.
Yeah, please wear a fucking mask.
Please wear a goddamn mask. It's not that hard. Even if it doesn't work, like, let's say the worst thing that could happen is you're wearing a shitty mask for like 20 minutes while you're in a fucking Kroger. You're fine.
Yeah.
We're all fine.
Yeah,
Just wear a mask.
God forbid you do that for any.
That's all.
Somebody was right because there was the fucking indie wrestlers. Are being stupid.
Shock among shocks.
Austin Aries.
Oh, I saw that today. He's
and also low key, another indie wrestler. A lot of big names that were from like the early aughts. Mm-hmm. They're both like, I don't want to wear masks. If you can't. Austin Aries is trying to say like, hey, yeah, why should I wear a mask? For your benefit because
you're fat.
Because you're fat. And I don't take the food out of your shopping cart.
I'm like, dude, diabetes isn't fucking contagious. That's why this analogy doesn't work. You know what? Yeah. I'm just gonna put that out there. That it doesn't work. It doesn't
your analogy clearly is built on a premise of you just not wanting to wear a fucking mask.
It's also built on a premise that
and that you hate fat people.
Yeah, that you hate fat people. That you're fat phobic. That's what it is.
That'd be great.
That you're actually concerned for fat people's health when you're really not.
Yeah, right?
Let's be fucking honest.
Are you concerned?
You don't give two fucks about fat people.
I've dealt with the guy a few times. Nice guy. Good dude.
Sure.
Seems like a good dude. But
not good on Twitter.
Also not just generally not cool with wrestling fans. Like, he's not a big favorite amongst peoples.
Because he's kind of a dick.
He's kind of just very abrasive and very much like, if you're a fat wrestling fan, then fuck you. You can't talk about what I do because look at me. I do the actual wrestling. It's like, no, let people fucking talk about what they want. And if you don't want to fucking hear what they say, just ignore him. He's like, but he can't handle that.
Yes.
So I can't imagine him actually. That's why it's like, he's like, oh, you actually have like a care about a fat wrestling fan
it's not like that.
Trying to pound a fucking pizza and you're just like, no, I'll save you.
No, it's not
to
even
your benefit.
It's not to their benefit.
No.
But
so anyways,
yeah.
So indie wrestlers be wilding out. Don't fucking listen to them.
Sure.
If they're telling you stupid shit, because goddamn it, just wear a mask if you have to.
It's cool,
if you
man.
Can. Or fucking wrap a shirt around your face. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. I mean, apparently you can buy masks wherever the fuck you want.
Dude,
now.
I just bought 2 at Target for $4. A pack of 2 for $4, and you can wash them.
Yeah. Also, vote in your primaries if you have them.
Yeah, that's fun.
We're doing this now. So vote in your primaries, and
I think we mentioned this last time, but we live in a vote by mail state. Colorado is one of the 5 states that has vote by mail. Now, you can still go and vote in person if you so choose, but if you were registered to vote, guess what? Your ballot just fucking shows up at your house. And it's not some sort of scandal-plagued wasteland. It's not this oh my God, voter fraud everywhere. It's actually a really great system. We don't have any voter fraud problems in Colorado. It's just this really nice system where you get your ballot ahead of time and you can actually go look up, especially those down ballot races that you've never fucking heard of. You can look stuff up. You can do some research. You fill out your ballot in the privacy of your own home. Then you put it in the envelope and you drop it at a secure drop location. And that's it. You've voted.
Yeah.
So we voted in our primaries, I don't know, like a week before the actual primary. And then we just dropped it off at this. There's like a drop box outside of
the police station.
And there's one outside City Hall.
I'm really looking forward to doing that for.
Oh, I can't wait
for the main election because I remember in 2016.
We fucking whiffed it.
Did California vote by mail?
They had vote by mail, but we hadn't. Well, they also had. We did because like California is different, where you can do vote by mail, but every election you have to go online and request a ballot get mailed to you. We didn't do that because we were like, oh, early voting. We'll just do early voting. That was a fucking mistake.
No, everybody else did early voting.
We stood in line for literally 8 hours to vote.
Stood in line. I think it was where was it? I think it was somewhere in.
It was in Culver City. It was
Culver
at
City.
the old campus over there. I forget the name of that college. It's like West LA College or something like that. It was a fucking nightmare. I wish we had just gotten out of line because we were supposed to go see Superman at the New Beverly.
Oh, that's right.
But by the time we were like, oh,
did we see Superman 2 there?
Yes.
Yeah.
But by the time we had like waited in line so long, we're like, well, we're not going to get out of line. We've already been here for like 5 hours. It was a nightmare. And I was so angry. And I will never do that again if I can avoid it.
Yes, and thank God for vote by mail. I will say though the highlight of that event,
seeing Dimitri Martin,
seeing comedian, actor, writer Dimitri Martin walk up to the line, walk up, look at the line,
and go fuck it
and leave.
Yep, that was it.
He did not do any jokes.
You're right. He literally walked up, and you could see the look in his eye. Go, oh fuck, and then he turned around and he left with his family, and it was a wonderful, wonderful moment because you're like, you know what, Dimitri, you're fucking right.
Because sometimes that's the thing about Hollywood. You just be sitting there and just be like, oh, there's a comedian or there's a guy I know. Oh, there you go.
I've seen that guy on TV.
Hey, I know that guy. I once saw Andy Kindler at in a Beverly Hills post office.
Oh, neat.
When I was interning for the E.
Do you remember that time we saw Brian Stack at a fucking Trader Joe's and he looked really lost and confused?
Well, he was, I think he was like, he lived in New York for majority of the.
When Conan was doing The Tonight Show, one of his writers, Brian Stack, who, if you've ever watched Conan, he played the Interrupter, the Singing Ghost, Frankenstein. He did all sorts of characters.
Artie Kendall.
The Singing Ghost was one of my favorite bits. So
I was murdered.
Yeah, I was murdered. I feel like The Tonight Show, when we first moved to LA, Conan was still doing it. Am I wrong? I don't remember.
No, he started doing the LA show. He just started doing the LA version.
He just started doing it. And so like Brian Stack had written for Late Night Forever, and I guess he came out to write for The Tonight Show, and I think his family stayed in New York or whatever, I don't know. But we saw him at the Burbank Trader Joe's just looking bewildered.
He looked very bewildered, not just to be in a Trader Joe's, but also just California bewildered.
Yeah, I think that's why, because he now writes for Colbert. Yeah. So like he called it quits and went back to New York, and I'm like, you know what? Good call. But
I don't know. I always felt amused by that.
I know. I always love that story. I'm like,
yeah. So yeah, vote in your primaries, and also give to racial and stuff. Code Blue,
Act Blue,
Act Blue. Thank you.
Yes.
Code Blue, Act Blue.
Support things.
Support the fight against racial injustice. If you think we're an SGW, you're right.
Yeah, sorry about it. Actually, I'm not. I'm not actually really sorry about it. Also, how did you get this fucking long on the show without realizing that?
Well, apparently some guy did, and he just went, "Fuck it, I got 30 episodes in, or whatever how long he got."
Wow, dude, that's impressive, actually.
Yeah, no, I don't know how he got it. Maybe he lasted like an episode. I don't know.
I would like to think that he got 30 episodes.
But one of our iTunes reviews is just some guy like So
actually, I would like to think that maybe we made a difference in that man's life.
Well, maybe he found a comic book podcast that hates. It's just like,
I mean, let's not get twisted. I hate a lot of shit. I just don't hate people for their skin color.
Yeah, I'm not that bad.
Or their sexuality. I hate people for a lot of other fucking reasons.
There's so many other reasons to hate people.
Exactly. I'm like, people make so many shitty choices that you could hate them for. And it has nothing to do with things that are out of their control. Hate people for decisions they make. That's my message to the world.
That's right.
Yep.
Hold them accountable. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So before we take a break, talk about some movies we watched recently. Well, at least I watched. I don't know. Did you watch anything?
I watched something. What did I watch the other day? I watched Legendary on HBO, but that's not really a...
Oh, that's the drag show, right?
It's actually the ballroom show, but yes.
Ballroom show. For a second when you said Legendary, I was like, what, the John Cena wrestling, high school wrestling movie?
Yes, I did. That was the one I watched by myself.
I would be shocked as fuck if I walked in and just you watched that independently.
I watched the TV show Dead to Me, the second season that's up on Netflix, with Christina Applegate and whatever the hell that lady's name is.
Oh, right. I always get that mixed up with Dead Like Me.
I do too.
So I'm like,
because when they first came back, I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh no, this is the one I've been watching.
Yeah. So
Katie Sagal, surprise appearance by Katie Sagal.
Oh, right.
And you're like, ooh, is it going to be a Married with Children reunion? And it is not. They're not in the same scene together.
Oh, okay. Al Bundy's somewhere, and then
Ed O'Neill pops up somewhere.
And David Faustino is just eh.
What is David Faustino doing these days?
I don't know. Probably reaping in syndication royalties.
Right, like not having to do anything. It's the life.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you were saying you watched the movies.
Well, we watched this one movie last night called. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. I watch a bunch of horror movies because that's what I do. I did watch. Actually, we watched this the other day. The Scream Queen documentary.
Yes.
But Scream Queen. It's about the actor Mark Patton.
Yeah, it's basically about
who was
Nightmare on Elm Street
2. And Mark Patton was the lead in that movie, and a lot of people consider Nightmare on Elm Street 2 to be one of the most queer horror films ever. Mark's performance in that movie is very classifies as being a scream queen.
Yeah, he's a scream queen, 100%. And it's basically when it came out, everybody was kind of like, and then a big segment of the population, basically like The Advocate and like all that sort of stuff. This is back in the late
86.
Yeah, so this is the 80s. So this is like the AIDS crisis is going on. It's not like it is today. Like people still dropped F-bombs all the time, and like being gay was not okay. And so people were like, wait a second, this movie's really fucking gay. And that kind of torpedoed his entire career, especially because he was an actor, not out at the time, though he is gay. He was not out at the time. The guy he was living with ended up getting HIV, and there was this whole thing, and it basically, he just kind of like disappeared after a while. So it's kind of about like, him coming back and the movie being like rediscovered and like re-embraced by a new generation of fans.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's great when somebody, when you look back at something and you go, hey, that was pretty cool, and then you start getting into it. It's kind of like how like with certain wrestlers, that you kind of get that vibe.
Well, that's also and that's kind of on the same vein is the documentary I watched, which is You Don't Know Me.
Oh, that's right. We watched
NOMI, which is Nomi Malone from Showgirls. It kind of is just talking about like how did this movie get made? Like, what the fuck is this movie? And then kind of like, a new generation finding it. And Elizabeth Berkley kind of getting her due now after just literally it wrecked her entire career. So yeah, it's kind of the same vein.
Those are good to watch. Also, as far as documentaries goes, I also started watching, and I haven't finished it. I think I'm on the last part of it, but the Never Sleep Again documentary, which is about the entirety of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, excluding the remake with Jackie Earle Haley, but because it goes even up through Freddy vs. Jason, which is what I'm at. Yeah, it makes me. I watched that, and I also watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, which I don't think I've ever seen. It's one of those movies that I kind of watched, but I never got around. I never, maybe never sat down and watched it. And it definitely was one of those things where you heard about it when you were younger, and
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it was like 87.
Okay.
And, it was one of those movies where it's like, when you had cable back in the day, it might show up somewhere, but I definitely do remember watching a lot of horror movies like that, especially Freddy movies. I don't know if I ever got around to watching that one. Maybe I did see it, but I definitely remember seeing like 4, 5, 6, whatever.
See, yeah, I never saw any of those movies when I was a kid.
Like all those things. Watched a film called Absurd.
Okay.
That I've always wanted to see because I heard it was one of those video nasties in the UK.
Okay.
And it's on Tubi. Tubi's like trash.
Oh, Tubi's great.
Tubi's great because
I love a Tubi.
Tubi, which a lot
It's
of
an app.
people are starting to discover this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Netflix, but for trash.
Even worse movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like Prime.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have Prime. You can just have this shitty thing that's free.
You know what it is? It's like if your local cable access show used to have a late night horror movie channel. And it was
horror is one of the things.
Well, horror is one of the things, but I'm just saying, like, it's just whatever they could get the rights to. So it's just garbage. That's Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi's also. I mean, it's got TV shows. It's got that shit on there too.
A lot like Pluto TV.
Like Pluto. Yeah. How so many seasons exist? I don't know.
We don't know. I don't know how the rights.
But I would rather not know because I'm afraid it's gonna be something where it's like you cover some sort of like sex trafficking ring or some sort of. It's like you end up in like whatever's going on in the first Taken.
Right.
When you abduct those girls, and you're just like, it's like, oh God. It's like that guy's like, whoever's running this ring is like also in charge of, it's like Jim Tubi.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Oh, good old Jim Tubi.
Yo, the Tubi family.
Yeah.
Kind of trash. But yeah, I've been amused by that one that lately, and I've been trying to kind of get my fill of some stuff on there. Absurd. It's kind of like a I guess a spiritual sequel to Anthropophagus.
Oh, Anthropophagus Man.
Anthropophagus Man, which it's on Tubi, and I have to make sure I watch it before it goes away because I was on Prime at one point and it went away.
Oh,
but now it's on Tubi, and I got to make sure I get to it because I've always wanted to see it.
I know you've been talking about it since we got together.
Yeah, no, it was one of those horror movies where I read about. Like I started reading up on more horror movies. And I'm just like. And it only came up, and it was like, this one's disgusting. You better fucking watch out. This guy pulls out a woman's fetus and he eats it, but it's really just a skinned rabbit,
Oh, come on. Like a real skinned rabbit?
I'm assuming so. Maybe it was already dead. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. It's Italian.
That Italian horror. What shit? We went to see some Italian horror movie. I don't remember what it was. We saw it. Might have been Suspiria. Is there a cat that eats a mouse in Suspiria? Oh shit, what is it? It's not Suspiria.
Is it Inferno?
Yes. Because it's like there's a shop or something and there's a cat that eats a mouse and like a monkey.
Oh yeah. But then wait, the monkey's not in Suspiria.
No.
Not Inferno.
Oh geez, I'm getting them together.
You're also thinking about Phenomena.
Okay. But you know the one where the cat eats the mouse and there's like a shop that everybody has to go into? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. That cat really eats that fucking mouse. If you watch that cat, that's a real mouse. Yeah. It's not a fake thing. That cat is chomping on a goddamn actual mouse.
Yep.
Anyway, continue.
Absurd, basically, it's about Anthropophagus Man. He comes back. He's not the same dude, but he's also like the same actor. Ends up like Wolverine. But he's like shitty lumbering Wolverine.
Oh yeah, all right.
Shitty lumbering Italian Wolverine. So
fair, yeah.
Because but yeah, he just for whatever reason just heals constantly, and he terrorizes his family. He terrorizes like this family in some like remote Italian village not even Italian village, just a home, and like this little kid's home alone with the babysitter. Mm-hmm. And his parents are at another person's house watching the Rams Steelers Super Bowl from like 1979 or whatever it is.
Okay.
Like it's because everybody's like the big game, and it's but it's it's done Italian. In the Italian, so it's like stock footage of the game.
Yeah.
People eating spaghetti. Literally, they're eating spaghetti. I'm not making this up.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
They're just like they're having a Super Bowl party, and there's just people with plates of spaghetti.
They're like, yeah, you
and they're dressed up really nice.
Oh yeah, they're like Americans eat this, right? Like during the Super Bowl, and you're like, sure.
Well, I feel like it was probably a thing where they just, for American audiences, are like, well, let's stick in. Like maybe they were just having a party.
It was probably a soccer game or something.
Maybe
it
was even
like the World Cup.
Yeah, but this man, shitty Wolverine, like he can't die until like the babysitter, some girl, I think it's his sister, cuts the guy's head off. But not before this guy kills the babysitter by turning on the oven and just sticking the woman in the her top half in the oven.
Oh, good Lord.
So
wait, is this Abomination?
Absurd.
Sorry.
Absurd.
So this is not the plot of Anthropophagus Man.
No. Anthropophagus, it's saying Anthropophagus is a different movie. Anthropophagus takes place on an island.
Fancy.
Yeah, and like Anthropophagus Man is just hanging out on the island, waiting for people to come and eat them.
I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, that's literally it. It's just like, hey, I'm just hanging out, ready to eat.
Getting hungry, guys.
Hey guys, I'm hungry. I'm Anthropophagus.
I don't know what Anthropophagus means.
I think it's, oh God, I used to know. I used to remember, because I used to say it all the time. It's like to eat oneself.
Ugh.
And then I watched, last night we watched this movie called Night Killer.
Yep.
Which is also an Italian movie.
During this Italian movie, I noticed that I think all Italian horror movies were scored by the same person.
You're not wrong.
No, I know.
It's pretty much about the same. Claudio Simonetti, his band Goblin. Apparently in Italy, they tried to market this movie as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Okay. I don't see how that would have worked.
No, there's no way.
There's no connection.
There's no way you could watch this and be like, I think this is actually like Leatherface.
No.
You know, because there's a guy in a mask.
There is a guy in a mask who really hates his ex-wife.
He really hates his ex-wife, and he just hates women in general.
Oh yeah.
Kind of just uses wears like a Halloween mask, like a really gross Halloween mask, and like rubbery gloves. Apparently his have like adamantium claws on them because he's going up to women and just shoving his entire hand through their bodies.
They're just made of paper mache.
Well, the women are.
These women are just made of paper mache. Punch through a wet piñata.
Yeah. Oh.
Not even that. It's almost like just wet rice paper. Just poof, just hand right through.
It's hard to explain this movie because it doesn't. It's supposed to be a slasher movie. There's a slasher movie going on, but there's also like a domestic dispute movie going on.
Yeah,
and a failed marriage movie going on.
Yeah, and what's weird too is there's also like the timeline's kind of weird because it's like he attacks some people that were unrelated at the very beginning, just kills two women. And that's fine. And then there's
kills two women at this
at like a dance practice.
But whatever show this is going to be,
it's dumb.
I don't know what it is.
No, nobody does.
I don't know what they're just dancing to whatever music is on we're hearing. I don't know what music they're actually dancing to in real life, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense. But anyways.
Yeah. Then he's like calling this woman on the phone and calling her a bitch. Yeah. And then he tries to kill her because she has two lines in her house. And then she's in the hospital. And then she's driving down the road. And it's like all of those things in like rapid succession. And you're like, so how long has she been in the hospital? How long since she got out of the hospital? Because now she has amnesia.
There's also a lot of this too, where there's this like side plot with the cops.
Yeah.
Who never actually like
do anything.
They don't actually even like engage with this actress. They just kind of like are like, well, she's out and we didn't send her a bodyguard and now she's missing again. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And you're just like, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Well, shrug.
And then they're like, and then I can't even explain. It's hard for me. I mean, I could explain it. It would just take me forever to do it.
Yeah,
because
it's a weird one.
In my head, it doesn't really make sense. And then after you went to bed, I watched a movie called Beyond the Darkness.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It went fine.
What was there darkness?
No, it was
the hell.
A man whose fiance dies, and he sticks her full of this fluid that allows her corpse to be preserved,
like embalming fluid.
Yeah, but she's like not like rotting at all. She still looks like it's just basically just the actress just laying there.
That's fucked up,
right? And but he also took out all of her like guts.
Ew.
Which you get to watch.
Oh.
And then there's this woman that he lives with in this house that's like was his caretaker, who may or may not be around the same age as him, but she also like jerks him off once and then like does erotic lactation with him.
Oh no. Erotic lactation. Can't think of a less attractive set of words together. That's just not my thing. No kink shaming here, whatever you're into, man, but not my thing.
And then at one point they murder some hitchhiker. This is actually my favorite, the weirdest scene in the movie. They murder this hitchhiker, hack her up, throw her in a tub full of lye, and then boil her remains, scoop the remains, and all the meat, all the boiled, corroded meat into buckets, throw it in the backyard, cover it with dirt, and then the woman eats beef stew really sloppily immediately after, and we get to watch it, and it's actually, that was probably the most disgusting thing in the movie, amongst other of all the stuff that happens in this movie. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And then some guy gets stabbed in the groin.
Stabby.
Yeah, it's a weird.
It's a movie.
It's a weird film, and it was one of those things where I was like, because it's Joe D'Amato, D'Amato or whatever, who's responsible for a lot of trash. If you're looking for trash, you go to Tubi, and if you're looking for Joe D'Amato, you also go to Tubi.
Yeah.
He might as well be known as Joe DeTubi.
Joe DeTubi.
Joe DeTubi, because I was for whatever reason I came up with it because Joe D'Amato shot some stuff in Night Killer, and I was like, he's like, oh, he also did this movie Embraced or Beyond the Darkness. You may not want to watch that. And
like, fool, I'll show you, Tubi.
And I was like, you don't know who I am. So then I watch it, and that's how I figured. And actually, you'll enjoy this comment here from Tom E. Morello on Instagram, who responded to my picture that I posted of me watching this movie. He says, "This is the most utterly disgusting, exploitative, irredeemable piece of trash I have ever watched twice."
That's about right.
Shout out to Tom E. Morello.
Oh, Tom E. Morello.
So yeah, I had some fun with that.
Good.
So, I'm also opening action figures. I just opened the last of what I have for now. I opened up a 1998 Marvel's Gold Luke Cage, as well as a brand spanking new 2020 Marvel Legends Rage from the Abomination series. I opened those up on my Instagram and on our show page, so you can enjoy that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with our book for this week.
Comic books and Star Wars have long been cornerstones of geek culture. I'm Grant Richter, and in my new project, The Jedi Archive, a Star Wars comics podcast, I'll be talking about where those 2 points intersect. I'll be talking about all eras of the Star Wars universe in the comic book medium. The Republic, the Rebellion, the Resistance, the Old Republic. I'll be talking about Dark Horse Legends and Marvel canon, and if I'm feeling really wacky, the old school Marvel Star Wars series. So be sure to check out The Jedi Archive, a Star Wars comics podcast, on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and at anchor.fm/The Jedi Archive.
All right, we are back here in our worst collection ever with our book for this week. It is Comics Greatest World, Hero Zero, week 2. So I'll just say this is number 2. So Comics Greatest World, Hero Zero, number 2 from September 1993. And of course, this is from the ongoing pile of quarantine comics that we bought from Mile High Comics.
Yep.
And we're working our way through these. And it's also a continuation of a previous issue that we did all these of the I think it was Into the Void or something
like that.
Something void. This is actually going concurrently in some sorts, and a lot easier to follow.
Much easier to follow than the other one.
Even also, I feel better that here's also it's easier to follow because we read that previous one.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, I know what's happening right now.
Instead of me trying to explain what the frig is going on, I could be like, oh, well, we could remember this.
Yes.
So I do appreciate that facet of this book.
Yeah, no, I do too.
On the cover here, we have said Hero Zero. This logo actually is interesting because both the zero, the O in both Hero and Zero are just a circle with like a slash through it. So basically like a zero. They're both like slanted towards that, the HER and the ZER. So technically could be Herzer.
Ooh, Herzer.
Herzer. Werner Herzer.
Werner Herzog's cousin, Werner Herzer.
Werner Herzer. Yeah. So on the cover here, we have Hero Zero. Mm-hmm. He has one of the most unique color schemes I've seen for a superhero.
Really? It's just blue and yellow.
But it's not quite blue though. Really? I feel it's like an to me it just looks like aquamarine blue.
I think that
and a much paler yellow.
It's kind of, to me, it was very 80s color scheme, even though this is not an 80s book.
Right. Well, also, you're right. And it also to me looks like a late series G.I. Joe variant.
Okay.
Because in the later years, like in the, once you get past like 92-ish, in the last like 3 years of G.I. Joe, the original Real American Hero, the original run, they would have a lot of guys that would have colors like kind of like this.
I could see that.
It's a very, like a lot of weird neon shit going on. And it just reminded me of that. So, said Hero Zero is here on the cover, and he is facing off against a dragon.
Yes.
He is in the background. He looks like he's in a city, but
he is not.
He is not really in a city in this book, which is great because I don't want people fighting the dragon in a city.
Yeah, no, I there are a couple things I appreciate, and I think when we get into it, I have a theory about your color scheme.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we'll talk about it when we get to the actual Hero Zero.
So we start off in block 13, which I believe this would have been in the previous book that we read, where there was the whatever, because this is in the same location.
Yeah.
Cinnabar Flats.
So
Nevada.
just kind of like as a refresher for that was the one where it was like a government facility that had like a vortex that had opened up, and there were these alien people like trying to hold off this whatever monster thing, and they failed. And then this alien monster thing was like looked at some lady and was like, "Hey, lady, you are now my."
You're like my consigliere.
You're like, yeah, my interpreter of this world or whatever.
Consigliere.
So that, and there's like a senator who like runs away and stuff. So that's what's happening in the other book, which we've already talked about a couple episodes ago.
But in that same facility, there's like this block 13, or like a place that like where they have these people who are like mutations or people affected by like alien viruses or something. And we start off with this guy. He looks like a stone dude, like a purple,
like a rock monster,
purple rock monster. And he awakens and he tries to smash his way out of wherever he is, wherever block he's in. And he starts trying to smash a few people, but then they shoot him up.
Yeah, he does.
And he bleeds, which is, I thought was,
yeah.
It's like, oh, he just like, is it? So I wonder if it's just like a dude.
Yeah, I assume so. He also
just became a rock monster.
It says he's mortally wounded, so they killed that guy.
Yep. We go to Cinnabar, Nevada. That's right, because I remember Cinnaburst, Nevada.
Yes.
I was really a big fan of that. 3,426 people.
So apparently it's like a town that exists just so the people who work on this like base are close by.
Yeah. So we start off with this kid who's in bed, and his name is David McRae. Mm-hmm. And he gets some sort of
somebody whispers his name. They're like, "Hey, Dave, get up."
But as you can see, as he's waking up, and this is week 2, we've already been introduced to this character. So yes. I'm assuming we're just kind of picking up on another situation here. But he has like a medallion, like a medallion of sort that's embedded into his chest.
Yeah.
And like it's very small. It's small, but like that's where this voice, communication is coming from. And so David is David, and the voice that's coming to him is somebody called Zero. They're calling out to him, and they're like, "Hey, something's happening." And he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
"Get up."
He's like, "All right, well, let me get dressed." And he runs out to the middle of this desert.
Yeah, he just runs in the middle of nowhere.
This is what I actually do like about this particular instance here. It feels very 70s sci-fi.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of what I was going to say about the color scheme. Like, I feel like it looks the way it does because this is a young hero.
Okay.
So you've got these like kind of throwback, bright colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like this gritty stuff that we're used to seeing.
So he runs up to this base, and at the same time, when he runs to the base, he kind of jumps into where we originally. And I forgot who these guys are, but they have one's called Ariok, another one's called Rimmon, but I always want to call him Rimjob.
Rimmon. Sorry.
So these are the guys that have the waffle iron staffs.
Yes.
And
man, I'd love a waffle right now.
They're laying waste to all these soldiers, and I don't remember seeing this in the original book, but they blow up they waste this helicopter too.
Oh, absolutely.
With their I
don't remember that part either.
Yeah, film reel zappers. And then we go to where this Block 13 is. Okay, so I think it was before this girl. Mm-hmm. Do you remember? I think the girl put like a bomb on the door.
Yes, I think that's right.
And so since she put the bomb on the door, we kind of are seeing what's happening with this bomb from that previous book, and it's blowing up the door to this Block 13 or whatever. And then we kind of just take a quick jump, which is very confusing, where I guess some of these Monstars made it out in time. Yeah, Block 13, so named because the unfortunate nature of those incarcerated there, people unlucky enough to be changed by other dimensional forces or infected by an unpredictable alien technovirus. That's what's going to happen to us with coronas. We're going to be in Block 13. So this is the one where the congressman is running, and the girl's like, "Hey, I'm here to save this congressman," or whatever. And the waffle guys get to where the vortex is. And they're fighting the soldiers and everybody that's in here, and the heretic. It's the heretic.
That's the guy. That's his name.
They sense him inside of this bubble
thing. Yeah,
and they try to disrupt it, and that's when. And maybe this happens in the book, and the previous book, and I didn't remember it, but some sort of energy.
I didn't remember that either. So this must be a different
situation.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's something maybe we didn't see in that first book, because I don't remember the energy thing.
Yeah. So this big whoosh of energy comes shooting out of this globe, and it flies up into the sky. And this is where David sees it, and he's like, "All right, time to turn into Hero Zero."
And so Hero Zero seems kind of like an Iron Giant type of thing.
Well, that's what I'm confused here, because I don't know if it's just the way he's. Actually, I think he's supposed to be that big.
That's the thing. I'm like, does he get huge?
Well, because he's fighting this dragon.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the dragon's as big as him.
Right.
Or the dragon's giant, so he's as big as this dragon.
Right.
But because the way that it's drawn is you're looking up at him, and he just becomes this big robot or big hero guy, and takes off towards this comet energy thing, and ends up being the dragon. And the dragon's like, "Fuck, man,
right.
trying to get out of here, trying to do something, and now you want to fight me." I do like this line here though, where he's talking to Zero, and he's like, "Zero, it's a dragon, but dragons aren't real."
Right.
However, being a superhero wearing G.I. Joe 90s colors is completely okay.
Being able to communicate through that to I'm assuming some sort of alien intelligence or artificial intelligence that gives you a suit. That you can believe. You can't believe this dragon.
You can't believe an actual dragon. Dragons would be I'd just be "Oh yeah, there's a dragon." I
mean, at that point, you'd just be "Yeah, sounds right."
Yeah. So he starts fighting this dragon. Dragon kind of knocks him out for a minute there. Kind of puts a kink in his armor, so to speak, literally. And then he punches the dragon in the face. I do like the fact that just giant man is just punching a dragon.
Right.
I do kind of enjoy that. I do kind of enjoy this kid, this reckless kid hero.
Yeah.
In a giant superhero body, fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
Fighting a dragon that just wants to it
just wants to leave, man.
It just wants to leave.
And is this the part where it becomes many things?
No, we're getting there. The dragon's kicking his ass.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And the dragon also looks like one of those Chinese dragons. Yeah,
that you would see Chinese New Year.
Yeah, Chinese New Year dragons or whatever.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, and so he starts slinging it around, and then the dragon is like, "Look, we're done here.
Yeah.
I want to go." And
over this, you fucking kid.
And the kid and the hero, he's like, "What? God damn it!
No,
I want to fight you, fight this dragon." He's just swinging around in this because the dragon puts out this fog, and the dragon's like, "All right, you know what? Fine, fuck you. I'm going to kill you." And then he hits it. He finds it and he hits it, and it shatters.
Yeah.
The dragon just shatters into a bunch of little tiny pieces, and then that's when it becomes tiny dudes or tiny monsters.
It's like little monsters. They're real, and they're all different colors. Like one's red, and they've got like weird faces. It's very bizarre.
Well, and he knocks them. He pops them up. He breaks them up, and then the little guys are just like, "What?" They're just like, "Curse you, you mortal!"
Yeah, they're like, "God damn it!"
It's like, "You asshole!"
They're like, "You are just throwing a kink in this plan, dude."
And then they get away. Instead of him trying to punch all these little dudes, they just fly away.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Man, that was pretty weird."
That's the weirdest thing that's happened to me.
Yeah, this is the weirdest thing.
Zero guy, and he's like, "Oh, I think weirder things are gonna happen."
That's right. And
kid. He's like, by the way, you should go home before you freeze to death in the desert. Bye.
He's just like, all right, well, you fought this dragon. I guess we're done for tonight. Like, what was the point?
I don't know.
What was he going to be doing in the first place?
I don't know.
Was he just going to go out there to find something that came out of there and then just hit the first thing he sees? Which is a very 90s thing to do.
Sure.
He's got 70s colors with 90s sensibilities.
Maybe that's how they advertise this book.
You know what? I'm sold.
This book is very short. Surprisingly short.
But then it's over.
It's over.
It's literally, it's super short.
We've been through the book.
Which is fine because this is what we were handed.
Yeah, well, we got to go through all these. That's the whole thing.
And then next week in Comics Greatest World is King Tiger. And at the end
Not Tiger King.
No. Thank God. Fuck that show.
I never watched that.
Well, everybody's like going crazy about Tiger King.
I can't.
I cannot. I just saw the preview for it and I was like, oh wait, we're abusing animals and we're fucking with animals. No, thank you.
I got upset today because our neighbor is trying to catch a fucking raccoon that's stuck in his attic or whatever, and he caught it and it was just sitting on the roof and he was just like waiting for the guy who trapped it to come back, and I'm like, it was in the shade and I'm like, it's hot, it's gonna start baking. Like, I was all upset.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
So
get all worked up about stuff like that.
Yeah, so no Tiger King for us, but King Tiger.
Yeah, King Tiger, sure.
King Tiger I might give a shot. Because apparently King Tiger is just a dude with a bow, and he shot literally 30 arrows into some sort of monster. Most of them in its head, it looks like. It's kind of...
Well, you got, got good aim.
He's got great aim. or he just shot it once and it fell and he just got really close and just shot it a
whole bunch more.
Went, yeah. That's what we got coming up with in the next issue of this Comics Greatest World. But since we don't know anything about King Tiger, do you want to keep hearing about the adventures of Hero Zero?
It's so short. It's really hard for me to make a decision on if I would like this book or not. So I think I might need another issue of it just to see if I'd be into it. I mean, I do have to say there's a strike against it because I don't like stories about kids.
But he's not really a kid. He's more like a teenager. He's not a shitty kid.
That's so far he's not a shitty kid.
That's true.
I didn't like stories about kids when I was a kid, so I'm kind of like, eh. But I think I would need at least one more issue to be like, do I like this or not?
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd probably the same way. I mean, I don't think we have any more of these in the pile, so we're not going to probably get around to it. So, but nonetheless, though, much easier read, than the previous one. But then again, we not read that previous one, we wouldn't be able to enjoy this one as much.
True,
I think so. I guess that is just fate playing itself out. But that's it for this week's show. Thanks for listening. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Angry Hero Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show, Worst Collection Ever, on Facebook. You can find the show on Facebook, Worst Collection Ever. And you can email the show, worstcollectionever@gmail.com.
And please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get the show. Let your friends know about it. I believe also I got to check and see, but Amazon just kind of put up like podcasts everywhere.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're doing something. I got to look and see how that's sorted out. But if you're fucking around with Amazon, maybe we'll be on there. I got to double check. But nonetheless, though, we are where you can get your podcasts, and tell your friends, leave a review, and teach the world to sing. And for God's sakes, folks,
wear a fucking mask.
Wear a mask. Be cool.
Yeah,
be smart.
Cool. Yeah, that's all. Just be cool.
Don't be an ass. And thanks again for listening, folks. We'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.